Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. I recently became a brand ambassador for these guys, and let me tell you something. I am glad I did because they are the real deal. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes all the confusion out of buying tickets. They have a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to let you know if you're getting a good deal or a bad deal. Green means good, red means bad. Your next best night ever is waiting, and SeatGeek has you covered. And that's not all. My listeners can get $20 off their first purchase when they use my code BLUESEATS. That's $20 off your first ticket order with code BLUESEATS. And with these ticket prices that I'm seeing lately, Ranger fans, I would jump on this now. So download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com and use my code BLUESEATS for $20 off your first ticket order. SeatGeek, the official ticket app of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Let there be live. What is going on, Rangers fans? My name is Jimmy Fanizzi, and this is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast right here on the Hockey Podcast Network. I hope that you are doing well. Be sure you hit us up on all social media, Twitter and Instagram, at BlueSeats94, and use the hashtag BlueSeats to interact with us with any and all topics at hand. Make sure that you subscribe on all audio platforms as well as on our YouTube channel, and make sure you smash that like button as well. Helps us out tremendously. So, if you are watching on the YouTube side, as you can see, I am not alone today as we got ourselves sort of a miniature version of a Metro Division roundtable. So, I am joined by Lance, aka Hefty Duck of the Brew Jackets podcast, representing the Columbus Blue Jackets, and of course, representing the New York Rangers, is one of my personal good friends, probably as big of a Ranger fan as me, my good friend, Mr. David Hanft. Gentlemen, how the heck are we doing tonight? Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Dude, are you kidding? The pleasure is all mine, fellas. Anytime. We will be joined by Bailey of the Surgecast covering the Carolina Hurricanes in just a few short moments. She's just dealing with a bit of a traffic jam right now, but she will be joining us a little bit later on. So, while we are waiting for her, we are going to go over some surprises and disappointments in the Metropolitan Division so far this season. And Lance, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I would say the Columbus Blue Jackets are a disappointment in the NHL. I know we were talking off the air. This is basically 3 years in a row of them not being relevant at all. And look, all jokes aside, I actually do feel kind of bad for Blue Jackets fans because I know how passionate of a fan base they have, but when are they ever going to catch a break? And now I'm just hearing a couple hours ago that, you know, Patrick Laine's hurt again. He's going to be on IR for a significant amount of time. So, yeah, Lance, I'll kick it off with you here with the Blue Jackets. I mean, what gives with them? Like, what's happening? Why are they always such a disappointment the past few years?
It's hard to say, like, pinpoint one exact reason. Because we have talented players. We've had players who are proven on other teams. We have Johnny fucking Gaudreau, man. We have Patrick Laine, who's proven to be great. He's played great for us before. You know? We got Kent Johnson, Kirill Marchenko, Chinikov, Voronkov, Fantilli, who's been playing great. So the players are talented. So what's going on there? I mean, we've had some crazy coaching problems here, too. I mean, last 2 years,
even in the last couple of months.
Like the coach there was kind of a punching bag, and then the current coach now was his assistant coach, and then the whole Mike Babcock thing. I mean, dude, then that I think really threw kind of a wrench into things for this year then too, is, because things were in motion, things were being set up. Did he have to go? Yeah, absolutely. But it sucked. And so Pascal Vincent gets these, maybe like not even like a full camp really down, and was maybe kind of unprepared a bit. But then we got to look at, like, literally in a decade's time, in the last decade, which is how long Jarmo Kekalainen's been the GM. We've made it past the first round of playoffs one time. We've made it into the second round once in a decade. And in fact, I mean, that's like most of the entire like lifetime of the Jackets. So, we really got to start looking at that. It starts from the top down. You just gotta, like, I don't know. It almost makes you want to pull your hair out sometimes. It's like it's such an obvious choice, like in these times. Like, and then we really got to talk about this year's coach too. He's never had head coaching experience. So anyway, so long story short, it's hard. I don't even know, man. What is going on? We're spending money. We got talented players, and then we, GM does great in trade. Well, I don't know if he does great in trades, but he does great in the draft every year. And
I was gonna say those are two entirely different scenarios, man. I guess what bothers me the most, and I don't mean to cut you off, I apologize, is that they gave a coach with no head coaching experience, mind you. They gave him, rather than make him an interim coach, they gave him a 2-year contract. For what? For a guy with no coaching experience? Like, what are you doing?
Because they liked him. Like, I don't know, man.
So
like, that's what I do.
Interim then, and see if you really like him. If you like him after this season, if he's an interim, then you sign him to a contract. That's how it works.
And if you lose 9 in a row, then let him go. It's easy.
Exactly.
Then you don't have anything off your back. You're like, right? Like, holy shit, dude. It makes me want to tear my hair out. Like, I spend good money on watching this team, on following the team, and it's just letting me down year after year for a while now. And it's
unbelievable.
Not going to give up on them. I'm always going to cheer
for
them.
I'm not saying give up on your team. At this point, it's just like it's a decade of just nothing. Absolutely nothing to show for the players. Like, come on, man.
We look at Arizona, who had been maybe not good for a minute, and now we're even watching Anaheim. They're also not doing super great, but they're doing better, and we're seeing them on their trajectories, maybe a little bit better here and there.
Right.
Then there's the Sharks. Look, it's the only team I can make fun of.
Hey! Now, granted, the
Sharks. I used to laugh at the Sharks. I can't do that anymore. They came over here to the East and started slapping everybody.
Oh, right. That was.
I mean, hey, listen. Granted, the Sharks have been playing a lot better lately, but it's just like even still, you do have a point there. But I'm sorry, Dave. I cut you off for a sec there. What did you say?
No, I was saying I guess they put something in the water for the water bottles or something, because all of a sudden they started playing really well out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy for it. It's like similar to the Columbus situation. It's like they're good players, so like you would expect a little bit more. Like, so I was going through the Metro Division. I kind of labeled everyone, like all the teams, as like overperforming, underperforming, or like as advertised.
Right.
And it's like I don't want to put a lower team as like as advertised, but it's like it's one of those things like. It's unfortunate that Columbus almost has like this, like most of that. I'd say a lot of people kind of just expect them to be kind of like one of the lower teams because they've had such a bad track record. Right. And I hate to put them as like, yeah, they're 10, 16, and 5, and I put them as advertised. And like, I don't like that I had to do that, because it's like, they certainly didn't have a bad start like, Edmonton or San Jose for that matter did. And it's like, again, it's not like they're bad players. They're certainly not, but you just expect them to have a little bit of a better start.
Exactly. Yeah. And by the way, don't forget who their captain is. Boone Jenner. I like Boone Jenner a lot. He's having a good season, but what about the rest of the team? 13
goals, 5 assists for 18 points. In 9 games. That's not bad at all.
No.
That is far from bad.
Absolutely. So I'm not blaming Boone Jenner for the bad start. Personally, I'm blaming coaching here, and I'm blaming up top, because why would you sign a guy who you apparently trust after signing him to a 2-year contract, not even giving him an interim tag. Like, what are we doing here?
Like, I'm all for new blood behind the bench after seeing the same 5 or 6 coaches get traded around to 30 different teams. Because, like, so you have, like, the Laviolettes, the people like that, the Tortorellas, people like that. It's like, they've been on a million different teams. It kind of, it's like, at a certain point, like, where's, like, okay, we know what these people are going to bring to the table. Like, let's try something different, a new perspective, perhaps a slightly younger perspective for that matter, which is why I was really upset with what Edmonton did. All of a sudden, firing their coach, and it's like, he wasn't the problem.
Well, yeah, well, now all of a sudden they bring in Chris Knobloch, and all of a sudden they're on fire. So clearly there was something wrong with the coach.
I think that probably was just a kick to the players, where it's like, all right, well, you like this guy, but you're not playing. We're gonna just get rid of him. So you better start showing up, or someone else is next.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Got to start cutting off fingers, so to speak.
Yeah. It's going to be what it's going to be at this point. But anyway, that's Columbus's situation. We're not going to talk anymore about them because I don't want to torture Lance any more than he already is being tortured. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
But anyway.
These games hurt now. I'm numb.
Fair point.
Sorry,
but anyway, let us legitimately now go over some surprises and disappointments in the Metro division here. Dave, I'm actually going to start off with you since you put up all the stats here. Who is your surprise team in the Metro this season?
My surprise team in the Metro division is the Rangers. In all honesty. I'd say I was expecting them to do well, not this well.
That is true. That is
not
true.
19-7-1 well.
But by the way, just for the
like
record, I don't mean to cut you off, Dave. I apologize. At the time of this recording of this episode here, the Rangers are currently playing the Anaheim Ducks.
Yes.
Just want to make sure that you're aware.
So
if you're a Ranger fan.
This score will change before the end of the night.
Yes. Yes, it will change. But anyway, please continue. I apologize.
But I think I was expecting them to do well, like upper mid-level probably. So to see them kind of come out of the gate, like to have that back-to-back win-loss, like, okay, that's kind of what I was expecting. And then when they started going on a tear after that, I'm like, obviously I'm not complaining by any means.
No, not at all.
But it was just very surprising after the very lackluster end to last season that I don't want to talk about.
None of us do.
And they have their own problems right now. They're not the perfect team by any means. They're not pulling a Boston from last year. I think most Rangers fans can agree that right now there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made on all parts of the ice.
Yeah.
Obviously, Shesterkin's not having the best season right now, which is very disappointing to see. But
yeah, I've got some words on that later. But please continue.
But we're not dropping quick.
Look at other games where it's like, they lost. Let's say, then they lost to Toronto 7-4. It's like Shesterkin's not going to score you 7 goals.
Oh, no, he's not. But still.
So there's only so much one person can do, and obviously, as Rangers fans, we know this experience all too well. Leaving our goalie out to dry. We saw that.
Yeah.
For the better part of the last 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, dude, I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, me personally, I was not expecting the Rangers to do this well to start the year. I mean, you mentioned it, 19-17-1 at the time of this episode here, 39 points, most wins in the NHL so far this season. Boston's not too far behind them. Colorado isn't either. But you look at this Rangers team here, I mean, despite Shesterkin having his own problems, literally almost everybody's contributing.
Yeah.
I mean, Keandre Miller's contributing. Artemi Panarin is just on fire right now.
He's doing a lot more than just contributing.
Exactly.
The one that got away.
Jacob Trouba's a shot blocking machine. Chris Kreider, despite his cold streak, he's doing his things. Zibanejad's starting to heat up a little bit. Literally everybody. Will Cooley's contributing. Will Cooley's showing why he belonged on this team this year. literally almost everybody in that lineup is doing something. That is what I like to see, and that's what I've been wanting to see from a Ranger team for a decade now, and we're finally starting to see it.
Seeing Johnny Brzezinski on the first line producing just as many points as Capo Caco in less than half the games is painful to see, but also I'm like, maybe we found our first line winger that we've been searching years to try to find.
I was gonna say that. I mean,
like, it pays me to say it, but at the same time, like, the facts don't lie. The stats don't lie.
It's unfair because Capo Caco's hurt, but it's fair to say that you're right.
20 games, and I think he's 6 points in 20 games, and I think Brzezinski's got 6 points in 10 or less.
Yes, no, that's about right.
So I'm like, at what point do you stop trying to? And I'm a part record. I have nothing against Capo Caco. All right.
No.
But at a certain point, and I think every fan has an experience with this. At what point do you say, "All right, enough is enough"?
Absolutely.
We've had our attempts to, like, I know a lot of people are on Lafreniere's case, but like he's going on a little bit of a revenge tour.
Yes.
So I'm like, cool. Like, keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But at this point, you would hope that someone like Caco kind of gotten their shtick together.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you 100%. Lance, what are your thoughts on the Rangers?
So I, for one, am actually pretty excited that they're doing good this year because, as I explained a little bit earlier, me and you are facing each other in the THPN Fantasy Hockey.
Yes.
Right now.
We are playing each other in fantasy hockey. Good luck, by the way.
Thanks. Good luck to you. Don't look at the score if you. So, and I have Mika Zibanejad, I have Jacob Trouba, and man, who else did I say earlier? Why am I blanking right now? So hard.
Did you say Lafreniere or something like that?
Yes, Lafreniere.
Lafreniere.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No, I'm sorry. So sorry. Right, Gustafsson, Eric Gustafsson.
Oh, Gustafsson. Okay,
Gustafsson.
Or Gus.
Goose. Hey man, I'm gonna call him the Goose now. And so, dude, honestly, I'm really impressed. Artemi Panarin putting up 39 points right now. That's insane at 32 years old. I mean, yeah, it just like I said earlier, the one that got away because former Blue Jacket. But
yeah, thanks for that.
Seems to be doing well for him. Also, don't forget Blue Jackets legend Jonathan Quick. Yeah, he wasn't even here for like.
And by the way, speaking of which, Jonathan Quick is playing tonight for the Rangers.
Oh yeah,
yep.
Dude, he's got a 922 save percentage for this year, right?
Yeah, he's cooking.
He is just he's resurrected himself. Is what he's done. He's resurrected himself.
38 years old now. He has 8 wins out of 10 games played. Now it's gonna be 11 games played. So that's impressive. Mm-hmm. It's cool to see, and hopefully maybe they can make up a bit for it last year. At the very at the end that it got a little rough. I remember seeing that, and then maybe they can compete with Boston for the President's Trophy if you want that curse. But yeah, so far I'm pretty impressed. I mean, how can you not be? They're second in the league, first in the Metro. Second only by 1 point, technically.
Yeah, by 1 point, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they tend to have, and I think they actually have somewhat, compared to the rest of the Metro, they have less games played other than versus the Capitals at the time of this recording.
Right. No, absolutely.
So they have a little, so it's just, they have that little bit of extra wiggle room when you look at it, depending on who you compare it to.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. But no, listen, man, I mean, I for one am very impressed with them. But I will say this because I saw this. I forget exactly. I think it was Big Apple Hockey, who I follow on Twitter, and they were talking about how do the Rangers have an Igor Shesterkin problem? I did respond to that, but I wanted to say it right here. I get that Igor has not been the same goalie that we're used to seeing. And I know you're going to say, oh, he won a Vezina Trophy a couple of years ago. Okay, great. He's not the same this year. Quite frankly, I'm going to put it bluntly, he looks terrible. He looks absolutely terrible right now. There's no other way to put it. But with that being said, to say that the Rangers have an Igor Shesterkin problem is not fair, because the defense still has spurts where they still cannot play in front of their goaltender, the starting goaltender. But we'll play great for the backup. Like, that's been a pattern for a decade now. Especially, look, Dave, you know this as well as I do. You have seen the same pattern with Henrik Lundqvist over and over and over again, and you're still seeing it with Igor Shesterkin. Oh, but not with the backups. Oh, we'll play great for Antti Raanta. We'll play great for Cam Talbot. We'll play great for Jonathan Quick. It's been a constant pattern every single damn year for a decade. Come on, man. A Shesterkin problem? Really? Look, he's been terrible this year, but a problem? Really?
I think it's a classic case of, confidence and mindset is a huge factor in something like this. And I think, part of me is like, I would have wanted to see him in net tonight against what most people would call an easier game. Not that any game is easy in the NHL, the professionals for a reason.
Right,
but a game with less expectation to hopefully build that calmness back up, get that mindset kind of back in order. Because it's like, if you're only putting him against the better teams and he's losing every time against the better teams, that's not going to help him very much.
No, it's not.
You can spend hours and hours on the ice in practice, but after a certain point, actually being in the game is the only thing that's going to get you there.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right. I'm with you. But yes, Dave, you mentioned your surprise was the Rangers. Who's your biggest disappointment in the Metro?
So right now, my biggest disappointment in the Metro is a little bit of a toss-up.
Okay.
Between the Penguins and the Devils.
You and I are on the same page, boy.
Yeah.
Now let me get one thing straight here. As a Rangers fan, I have to be happy the Devils aren't playing well. Let's be honest.
Yes.
But at the same time, given how they were playing last season, and to see that they didn't make a huge amount of changes.
Right.
In fact, they more so added things. I know they were without Heischer for a while.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those cases where you can't say, "Oh, missing one player is causing you to lose all the time." So especially when you have someone you have Jack Hughes and Toffoli and Brott on your team, it's at a certain point, it's you have these people, they need to perform.
Well, granted, Jack Hughes was also hurt for a while, so that did kind of impact them a little bit. But even still, I get where you're coming from.
But even if I give them so what I'm seeing, he has 22 games played on the season. Devils play 27, so 5 games.
Right.
But even if you kind of break that up somewhat evenly, that would bump them to if I give them more than half of those games as wins, that would put them at 18 and 13.
Yeah,
which is better. It's 18. Rangers have 19 wins,
right?
But 13 losses is not gonna, doesn't look very good.
No, it doesn't. No, you're right.
Actually, I might have misread. I might have put something down wrong. That math doesn't add up.
No,
that math doesn't add up. Maybe I'm just going crazy.
We're all crazy in our own way, but it's okay. Go ahead.
I do know one of their biggest issues right now is if any team in the Metro is having a goalie problem, it's the Devils right now.
Thank you.
I think I think any Devils fan would be hard pressed to say otherwise. And as for the Penguins, it's one of those things where you already had people like Getzel, Crosby, and Malkin. Obviously, they're we know how they're supposed to be, and then to sign someone like Erik Karlsson and dump all your money into four players, really, it's all right. Well, they need to be producing well over expectation if you're expecting 4 people to carry your entire team.
Agreed.
And I think that's their biggest mistake right now, which is we're going to put all of our eggs in this basket of 4 players and hope everyone else shows up.
Yeah, sorry, that ain't how it works. That is not how it works. It really is unbelievable. But
yeah,
Lance, what do you think?
I think the Devils are not what I expected this year.
No,
I did not expect them to be, they're like third to last. I mean, they're still over a 500 win percentage, but it's not been pretty. I mean, they lost the to the Jackets. But you know, right now, yeah, like their top 3 players are
throw a little salt to the wound, why don't you?
Honestly, the Rangers lost one and almost lost a second. So
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, you know, between Hughes and Bratt, they're really pulling through right now. I mean, they have a lot of points so far. Hughes 34, Bratt 33. That's impressive. But then you start to, you know, go down to the list, and all of a sudden it just drops off. And it seems like, you know, Timo Meyer's not really showing up right now. Dawson Mercer, you know, these guys who kind of need to. Nico Hischier. I mean, these guys need to produce, like what we were saying with, you know, Pittsburgh yet too. There's something expected of them, and if you're not living up to that, you're not living up to the contract you sign. I mean, what are you doing? But then you look at their goaltending. I mean, and this is where I think the defense might have a little bit of an issue too. I mean, a .883 percentage for Vitek Vanacek, that's rough, and a .901 for Kier Schmidt. I mean, 883 might be.
That says a lot about how the goaltending's been.
And I mean, I might be wrong on this, but an 83, that's got to be close to the worst in the NHL right now.
I think it is the worst in the
most
NHL.
likely is at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, there could be a little bit maybe better defense or something, but they just looked like scatterbrained almost, like they're not gelled together anymore. Like something happened. Like, didn't they not change their team that much from last year? Like,
I really don't think they did.
No, they really didn't change all that much. So I don't understand what's different. You know, you look at Akira Schmidt. He played out of his mind in the playoffs last year, and all of a sudden now he's reverted back to being an actual rookie goaltender. Vitek Vanacek, who's a veteran in this league, mind you, he looks absolutely awful. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what made them lose their game, but the Devils' goaltending situation has to get their crap together. Otherwise, they're gonna miss the playoffs, and that's something you do not want to hear if you're a Devil fan this year, because you were expected to be at the top of the Metro Division and make the playoffs. Now all of a sudden, it ain't looking that good.
Yeah, especially after last year's wild successes for them. You know, breaking their was like a home streak record or just a general win streak record for them.
Yeah, I think it was like what 15 straight home wins or something.
Yeah, it was something crazy. So like you would hope that would be the team to show up again.
Exactly.
And to see them to be kind of overall average, is not what you would expect out of that.
I mean, look, as a Ranger fan, I'm happy about it. But as a hockey fan in general, it's not what you want. I'm sorry, Dave. What'd you say?
It's just surprising.
No, it's very surprising. You're absolutely right. So, Dave, you have your disappointing teams as either the Devils or the Penguins, but your surprise team is the Rangers. Lance, who's your surprise in the Metro this season?
My surprise this season is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh my god,
dude! Where are they even coming from, right? Like, they were expected to be down there with us in Pittsburgh. Well, I don't think Pittsburgh was expected to be down there.
Yeah.
But like,
I was gonna say that, yeah.
You know, like for real, dude. Like I personally, I mean, I think on my preseason predictions, I had them at the bottom.
Hold the phone there, Lance, because we are now officially joined by Miss Bailey Curtis of the Surge Cast, if we can get her video working here. Seems to be having some we seem to be having some video difficulties with her on her end, but we will get those in working order. We promise you that. But while we get those fixed, Lance, please continue with what you were saying. I apologize.
So, you know, just like, you know, the Blue Jackets are I always have to liken things to my team sometimes, but they're a very young team. I mean, their average age here, 27 on the Flyers. That's fairly young. I mean, ish. But
young-ish.
Like, you know, comparatively to some other teams, Penguins. But you know, I just didn't see these guys coming out. I mean, I pulled up the wrong.
I mean, I was also going to add, especially with who the coach is, John Tortorella, who I think the game has passed him by. I mean, what is this?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I got a lot of love for Torts. He was our coach for like 4 years, 5 years.
I think we all have that in common right now.
Right, yeah. And I mean, I love those old interviews from when he was in the Rangers too. I mean, he's
Yes.
just absolutely hilarious to me.
I'm not going to answer that question.
Well, and then he's got someone familiar there who was also a big star here, Cam Atkinson.
Yes.
And he's maybe not performing as to what he could be right now, but like everyone's pretty solid within their team. Like they're playing really well as a team fully. It's not like, I mean, Konecny's leading with 24 points, but it's not like he's way, way out in front. Like we see with like Panarin even, or like if we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins here too.
Right.
And it's just I've just been impressed by them. I didn't see it coming. Carter Hart coming out there with some decent wins. He's 9-6 right now himself. Then their backup, Samuel Ersson. He's 6-3 right now.
Ersson, yeah, you're right.
That's huge. His save percentage really sucks, but he's got the wins, to back it up there. And so, yeah, I mean, Torts must be doing something there right. He's not about that. What did he say last year? Like too much of fancy stuff. I don't know, when he was not impressed with Trevor Zegras' Michigan goal
says anymore
or whatever.
Listen, dude. As much as it pains me to admit it, I agree. The Flyers are definitely up there as one of my surprise teams too. I mean, I was expecting this team to be close to the bottom of the barrel of the NHL. I wasn't expecting anything for them, and all of a sudden, they're third in the Metro at the time of this recording.
Yep.
Who called that?
At the time of this recording, they are 4 points behind the Rangers,
which is unfathomable. The Flyers, really? Teams.
Both the Flyers and the Islanders are 4 points behind the Rangers right now.
Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 on hockey and score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Now, I'm already looking at some early Hart Trophy odds here. I'm looking at Connor McDavid at plus 300, Austin Matthews at plus 400. If it were up to me, I would go with Austin Matthews. But again, that's just me. What you want to bet on is up to you. Download DraftKings now and use our code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved.
The
Islanders are another surprise team too. We'll get to them in a bit. Oh, yeah, hold on a minute. Do we have Miss Bailey Curtis?
Is it finally working?
Hey,
finally, her video was working. Bailey Curtis of the Surgecast joins us. How the heck are you?
I am a little stressed. It's been an interesting afternoon, but I'm just happy to finally make it on, even if it is for a short amount of time. So thanks.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We're just happy you can join us anytime. We'll get to you in a minute. We're finishing up with Lance.
Please continue.
No, it's all good. But no, we were basically talking about surprise teams from Lance. He mentioned the Flyers. I brought up the Islanders because who expected the Islanders to be in, second place? I mean, Barzal's all of a sudden scoring. Ilya Sorokin is an absolute beast. I mean, he's a beast anyway, but even still, that's beside the point.
Right.
But the Islanders all of a sudden, my issue with the Islanders is that they don't score. Now all of a sudden they decide to score and play defense? Like, no, I didn't expect this. Second place?
So the Islanders are a team I actually marked as advertised. because
Yeah.
Okay.
because you look at the roster and it's like they have talent. Like with a lot of these teams, like they have the talent, and I think it's like the last year or two where it's like they were just underperforming, and I think this is the level that they were expected to be at.
Right.
So, but again, as a Rangers fan, am I happy to see them doing well? Not really, but
No.
One thing we can agree on.
There you go. There you go.
But the fact that they're tied for second in the Metro is not that surprising to me. I think they're probably about where they should be, in all honesty. Barzal's got 30 points on the season. Dobson's got 29 points on the season. Horvat's got 26 on the season. It's like, that's what you expect out of them.
Horvat's showing up all of a sudden.
It's like,
Horvat
when
and
their guys are
Barzal,
showing up, they are showing up.
Yep, absolutely. It's exactly what you want. You still got. I still question their head coach at times, but the Islanders are in second place. They're a good team, and they're definitely going to make the playoffs this year. Don't get me wrong about that. So, Lance, that was your surprise team. Who's your disappointment in the Metro?
I mean, honestly,
Columbus.
Okay, well, I was probably gonna go with Columbus there, honestly. No.
Why are you gonna do my boy dirty like that, Dave?
I'll go with the second one, and that's gonna be Washington. I know they're in the middle there, but dude, look, I pay attention close to Ovi because I have him on my fantasy team, and let me tell you, there's a lot of other people I maybe should have picked. It was a great choice at the time, and they're 14-8, so they're not doing horrible.
But even still, you expect them to do a lot better than that, though.
I think they have Rogan's going to have more than 5 goals on the season.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's just a big part of it. Like we were talking about with other guys, like who are expected certain things of them. I mean, look at what Horvat and Barzal were doing for the Islanders now. They're expected to do that, and they show up and they do that. Yep. And so it's just surprising to me that they I don't know, like they're not doing better is basically it.
I mean, look, Charlie Lindgren, their goalie's doing extremely well for them. But other than that, you literally have nobody contributing. They're one of the worst scoring teams in the NHL this season. I mean, Ovi's not scoring. Backstrom's not doing anything. He's not getting any younger either. TJ Oshie's getting old. This team is just old, man. They're old.
Yeah. I think it says a lot about how they're doing when Tom Wilson has double the amount of goals as Ovechkin.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I was going to say is Ovechkin having some of his career lows this season was very surprising to me.
It's very ugly. For someone who's trying to chase a record, this is not a good start.
Right.
That's not this is apparently not the season to do it.
This is not the Ovechkin you're looking for.
Right. That's worrying to me too, because now we're all already saying, oh yeah, well maybe next season or whatever, but maybe not if he's not going to be able to do anything this season. Like holy shit, and Tom Wilson has 17 points. Actually, that's their point leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really a lot, like they've been winning, but
they've been winning, but at what cost?
Right. Lindgren's doing great. Another person I have on one of my fantasy teams. Sorry. I always see this is why I pay attention to a lot of these dudes, though. That's why I've been noticing Lindgren is because, he's been great.
By the way, live score update here in the middle of this episode. Rangers and Ducks are currently tied 1-1. Chris Kreider scored his 15th, and Leeson scored his 4th for Anaheim. Just a bit of an update there, but that's beside the point. Bailey, I want to come to you next since you're just joining us. Who's your surprise team in the Metro Division?
Let's see. I wasn't prepared with these questions you're putting on the spot here. Honestly, Philly's probably going to be mine. I know that's a really, really mainstream answer to give, but I don't know how you look at the standings and don't kind of let your jaw drop a little bit when you see Philly doing as well as they are.
I agree.
Not too much to say about that. I mean, I remember doing my Metro standings at the beginning of the season, and they were, I think, a step above Columbus, if not the other way around.
That's where I had them. Yeah.
Yeah, so to see it, not that I've kept up with them super well. This has been a crazy year for me in terms of school and whatnot. But just kind of seeing the push that they've had. Carter Hart's killer in net. What else is new? He's a goaltender that I've always been thoroughly impressed with. So I'll give that to them. But yeah, just to see them performing as well as they are, being, you know, underneath the New York teams who are absolutely killing it, and I didn't expect them to be as high as they are right now. I expected at least the Rangers to do well. I guess we lit a fire underneath the Islanders after our series, but I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, no, just that's all I really have to say there.
What about your disappointment?
I'm going across the river with mine a little bit. New Jersey is my
Wow, the
team.
Devils. All right.
They are a team that of course I expected my team to do a lot better than they currently are right now, but I expected this to be a battle for the first spot in the Metro between the Hurricanes and the Devils, and to see them underperforming and sitting at sixth in the Metro right now is
at the time of this recording, yes, 6th place.
Yes. So to see somebody who was considered a cup contender struggling as much as they are, and I understand they've been plagued with injury. They've been going through it, as has the rest of the league, which is no excuse.
Yes,
but even still, seeing some of these superstars in the Hughes brothers and Heischer not performing to the level that we kind of expected, and them being the dominant scary team that we expected them to be, it's just underwhelming to me. So
I mean look, the fact that I'm just going to bring this up since you're here.
Go for it.
Carolina's in 4th place at 16-12-1 at the time of this recording. I mean, me personally, you said it yourself, this is a team that was expected to be at the top of the Metro with the Devils. So the fact that they're in 4th place in the Metro, do you consider them a bit of a disappointment as well?
I can't. Biased me says I don't know. I have two different answers here. I feel like I can't turn on my team, but at the same time, being a realist, absolutely, you expect more from your team. You expect more from the guys you're sitting and watching every other night. When your top guys aren't stepping up and performing the way that they should, when you hear in constant back-to-back post-game interviews that some of the bigger guys aren't stepping up, that's absolutely disappointing, and it's something you want to see a lot better from. But in turn, we, in this kind of slump from our top, we are a very depth scoring team, so you're going to see it all across the board. There's not, we've got superstars and guys like Aho and Svechnikov when he's healthy.
I was gonna say, isn't he on IR again?
So not officially, but he is, according to Rod Brindamore in a presser today, he considers him week to week.
Oh my!
With an upper body injury, so he just got back.
Damn.
And
so
that hits
brutal.
hard.
That's brutal.
But
oh my god!
In losing a little bit of that step up from those top guys, which of course sucks, and you want to see more from them, we are seeing a lot of the what we consider the 4th line stepping up in those cases. So we're seeing a lot more production from guys like Stefan Nason, like Jack Drury, who has been on a scoring streak recently, or a point streak recently, which has been amazing to see from a guy who's getting a great shot at the NHL right now. We saw a little bit of what he was capable of last season, but to see it in full, like, consistent strength has been amazing. But we're seeing it from those guys who you maybe wouldn't expect to step up in those situations like that. And it's been really, really cool to see. So I consider that my bright light in the sea of dark that has been this team so far. Now, we are stepping it up. We are currently on a 2-game win streak after really losing some on our Western
2 games. Okay.
I don't know if you can call it a win streak yet.
Just kidding.
We're playing our first game back at home against Nashville tonight. I think the game is actually getting ready to start right now. Oh, Nashville just claimed the first goal of the night. How great.
Wow. Wow. Perfect.
As I'm talking about it.
Even more disappointments.
Right. So, yeah, I not to beat the nail on the head head on the nail any further. But yeah, we're looking up. The disappointment is glaring, but it's looking up.
Fair
about
enough.
Auntie
Fair enough.
Ranta?
I mean, at the end of the day, I still expect Carolina to be at the top of the division when it's all said and done. But as it stands right now, it's just
The way
don't
that
know,
I
man.
look at it is all you need is a wild card spot.
Okay.
Yeah, home
fair.
advantage is great in the grand scheme of things. Having and that's something especially the Hurricanes really thrive off of is that home crowd and utilizing that in their performance, which is not always, you can't always rely on that in playoffs. So the way that I believe it, the Florida Panthers are the perfect example of what you can do with a wild card spot and how far you can
Yes.
go. So
That's absolutely a fair point. I can't argue that. But fellas, what are your thoughts on the Hurricanes? Dave, I'll start with you.
I'm still lingering on the question on a mini question from earlier. How many wins does it take to how many wins do you need for a win streak? Three? All right.
2 is back to
quote
back.
unquote.
I see what you did there. Well played.
Oh, I was thinking about it since we mentioned it. Wait a second. No, but I definitely
Hey, any
marked-
back-to-back win, I'll take it. So
I'll take it. I'll take any win I can get.
That's fine.
Like any win I can get. Holy shit.
No, I definitely marked the Hurricanes as a general like underperforming expectations where I would expect them to be. Not only from last year, but even the year before that. Like the past couple of years for them have been really good, and to see them, I don't want to say they dropped off because all things considered, I don't think they really have. I just think they're not where they should be.
They made the Eastern
Because-
Conference final last year,
because
though.
at the time of this, they're 16-12-1 for 33 points. So they have as many wins as the Flyers, and they technically have more regulation wins than the Islanders.
Technically, yes, you are right
They
about
do.
that.
The Islanders just have more. They have
have more
games
games
go to
in hand.
overtime. They had more games in overtime.
Right? Yeah.
So I think that's where that kind of point discrepancy really comes from. But at the same time, given the Hurricanes' past 2 seasons, you would expect them to be like fighting for a number 1, number 2 spot at the top of the standings. And
Right.
I wouldn't even say at the top for the Metro. I'd probably say for the top of like the league in general, because that's where they've been sitting.
I agree.
And then again, to see this kind of happen is like what changed so much. Again,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
injuries
honestly-
are going to hurt.
I honestly think it comes down to a lot of predictability and not playing simple hockey, which I think at the end of the day is what it comes back down to. And we've stopped doing that. And I think it's something I complain a lot with my West Coast team too, because they're kind of, or at least we're in the same rut.
Who's your West Coast team?
I live in Colorado. So,
Avs. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I can respect
So-
that.
yeah, and it's the same argument that I had for them. It just comes down to getting back to playing simple hockey and not trying to be super fancy with it. And it comes down to that kind of thing becomes super, super predictable if you run into a system with it and you're constantly running that system. And I love Rod Brendamore's system and the way he runs our team. But it's come to the point where other teams are starting to read it and become a little more aware of it too. And that does not help at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I gotcha. Lance, what about you? What are your thoughts on the Canes?
I had the Canes right up there with the Devils, leading the Metro as my preseason prediction. So, yeah, from that to where they're at now is definitely lower than expectation. Someone else who's a little lower than expectation, in my opinion, is Auntie Ranta. He's 860 save percentage.
Yep.
Now he's got one more win than loss. And Kochetkov has also 6 wins, 6 losses, also an 890 save percentage. I think, they have the Canes to me are a very well-rounded team. I think that they have quality people in depth. That's how they got where they got last year, right?
Right.
But then, Ranta, he just, to me, seems off this year. I mean, coming from a Jackets fan, it's just and then of course there's Freddie Anderson yet too, who don't you have like a 3 rotation going on? Is that what
So
you kinda got
right
going?
now, Freddie Anderson is currently on IR with a blood clotting issue. So we
Yes,
are
I
currently
did
running with
hear about
Monty Ranta
that.
and Pyotr
Damn.
Kochetkov,
Okay,
which we
so
just
it is
got
the 2.
somewhat of a statement on him as well, saying from Rod Brindamore that we're not sure if he's going to see at all the rest of the season. I tell my thoughts on the situation. This could be a career-ending thing for him.
Oh my god!
Which
I
is
really
upsetting.
hope that's not the case.
I do too, because he's got great potential. He's got great passion for the game, and I'd hate to see that take him out. But anyway,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can give my thoughts on goaltending all you want, but I'll let you continue.
no, it's
Oh, yeah,
okay. But in all seriousness, all the best to Freddie Anderson.
Absolutely.
We don't wish that on
Yes.
everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's rough to hear, and I'm sure that could be a little bit rough on the team too. You never want to see one of your friends, coworkers, teammates, having an issue like that.
Absolutely.
That's kind of wherein it lies for me. I mean, Jarvis, Aho Natchez, probably doing great. Even Terry Vinen showed up. I have a lot of these dudes on my fantasy team. So, great. I think
gonna bring up
Burns
fantasy
could be doing
every
better.
single time he has.
I was
something
gonna
relevant.
say, yeah, fantasy's a great way to stay in contact and to know with all your other teams
Yeah.
in the
It really
area.
helps me pay
Oh my
attention to the
goodness.
league, and I mean,
One thing I will say is the Canes at one point, I forget the exact terms for it, but we had the most scored goals per game and the most allowed goals per game in the league at one point in the beginning of the season, which contributes a lot, I think, to those save percentages mentioned with both of those teams. It also doesn't help. Monty Ranta had that awful game against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
We're not going to talk about that. No,
that
we're skipping past that. We're not talking about it. We're moving on.
That was a joke and a half right there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
ouch.
So it's the well-roundedness. I appreciate that, but even then too, it goes back to what I mentioned as well, is some of those top guys need to step up, and we saw a great beginning of the season for Teuvo Teravainen. Martin Natchez has, I think, 1 goal on the season so far, and that's not something that you want to see for a contract season. Like his contract's up at the end of this year, and he at least wanted to make a case for himself that he deserves a decent spot on the team, and it's just not happening.
No, that's fair. I mean, me personally, I had Carolina winning the Metro Division again, but as it stands right now, it's not looking good at all. But look, do I still think they'll make the playoffs? Absolutely, they're going to make the playoffs, no question about it. But at this point, if they keep up their play like this, they're definitely going to settle for at least a wild card spot. But like you said, Bailey, Florida Panthers, good example. They were an 8 seed, second wild card spot last year, made it all the way to the final. That's just never freaking know.
Yep.
You never ever know.
Such an unpredictable sport. It's what makes it so fun in my head. So
absolutely, yes, you're right.
And I think one thing we all have to really think about at this point is, like, at the time of this, we're only about maybe halfway through the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, this is what we're looking at now. It's like, if things stay on this trajectory, that's one thing, but we all know, as you said, how
it's not time to hit the panic button yet.
Yeah,
so.
and we all know how unpredictable this game can be. We saw the Rangers turn it around last year, when they were not doing very well.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, with the throw of a helmet, they suddenly started playing a whole lot better.
Since Jacob Trouba threw his helmet, they've been on fire.
So I was like, I'm going to keep my expectations where they are, but knowing that, don't be surprised if this is going to sound like a really bad pun. So this is not pun intended, that the Hurricanes kind of surge up to the top of the standings. This was not. I had to preface that because I was about to say it without. But no,
that would have been great.
Should I just kick you out of the studio now?
I'll see myself out.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, though, all right. So now it is the host's turn. So my surprise in the Metro Division this year, it's a toss-up for me, like I said, between the Islanders and the Flyers, but at the end of the day, I think I'm going to have to, unfortunately, concede with the Philadelphia Flyers because just it pains me to say anything good about them because I hate them so much. But it's just
Join the club.
how in the world are they in third in the Metro? Did anybody and their grandmother predict that the Philadelphia Flyers were going to be at the top of the Metro Division this year? I don't think anybody did, not even on this network. So, look, I don't know what John Tortorella said to his team before the season started, but something's clicking. Something is clicking with his team, and unfortunately, it's paying off so far. Do I expect it to continue? As a Ranger fan, I don't want it to continue. But as a hockey fan, unfortunately, I have to agree that, yes, I think the Flyers have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs.
It's a good storyline. It's something for people to get invested in, which, I mean, it's like the San Jose Sharks on the other end of the spectrum. So...
I just hope somebody wipes the floor with them come playoff time, if and when they get there. That's just me. Anyway,
they're gonna be the next Florida. Watch.
Oh gosh! Now that we say it, now guys, stop.
Oh my god!
Trust me, I don't want to see it either. I don't want to see it either.
Let's not manifest that and continue.
Yeah, but please don't. But anyway, so yeah, in all seriousness, the Flyers are my surprise team this year so far. Nobody expected them to be this good. And my disappointment at the end of the day between the Devils and the Penguins, I have to go with Pittsburgh because this is a team that I personally said this is their last chance to try and at least get to one more Stanley Cup final with the core of Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. And unfortunately, it's bad. Well, not like terribly bad, but it's bad. Look, Sidney Crosby's doing fine. Crosby, I have nothing to worry about with him.
He can't carry a team on his own.
Thank you. Exactly.
Not anymore.
Look,
those days are long gone.
No, because I was hearing it from Penguin fans after Tristan Jarry scored a goal. They were coming to me and saying, "You believe in Tristan Jarry now? He scored one goal. Big whoop. He's still one of the most flip-floppy goalies I've ever seen in the National Hockey League. He is so inconsistent. It's a joke. I'm sorry. Look, congratulations to him. He actually scored a goal in the NHL. More power to him. But he is so inconsistent. It's a goaltender problem, and the team around Sidney Crosby is not helping the case at all. Sorry.
For me, it's almost the same case that somebody, I forget who it was, made about the Washington Capitals, and that they're an old team. It's something that really, at the end of the day, was gonna come and bite them in the like sooner or later. And I think last year it kind of broke the team and any kind of motivation and push that they kind of had. And there's some guys who don't want to lose that, i.e., their captain. But at the end of the day, again, he can't carry an entire team. If nobody else shows up, even the goaltender is not going to be consistent. And that's one of the biggest things you ask from a goaltender is consistency. Mm-hmm. But if you're not going to play like you want to win it, it's not.
Can we just pack Crosby and Ovi's bags now and just call it a day? Just saying, because their teams are not going anywhere this year.
Let Ovi break a record and then we'll talk. Let Ovi break his record and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point this season, he ain't breaking no damn record. I'm sorry.
No, not this season. But give him time. He'll get there.
He saw the whole second half of the season though. So I'm not gonna.
That's fair.
I don't expect him to stay with 5 goals.
Yeah, no. He ain't staying with 5
It's
goals.
Alexander Ovechkin we're talking about. Come on, y'all.
Exactly.
Come on.
Look, two surefire Hall of Famers, Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin.
Absolutely.
No questions asked. Their teams are not helping. I'm sorry. Look, the Capitals are a big disappointment this year. I'm not arguing that, but for me, Pittsburgh is much bigger because I said that this was their last chance to get at least one more Stanley Cup or at least try to, and it's not looking good at all. They may miss the playoffs again. That's how bad it is.
I wish I could say I was surprised, but I predicted the Penguins not performing well. So,
well, you actually did.
Yeah. Them and the Capitals for, again, the same reason. They're old teams that really don't have a fire lit underneath them anymore. So
no, that's fair. But hey, You know what? At the end of the day, At least they're not the Blue Jackets. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, Lance. I had to get one more jab in there.
Oh God.
It's the way she goes, man. Like I said, you can't hurt me anymore.
I was gonna say, I feel like you got
Yeah.
the thickest skin ever after the past
After,
few seasons.
You really do. You
Yeah.
really do. In all seriousness.
Third year in a fucking row.
Right.
All I can do is drink about it. All right.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, you're doing better than Ottawa.
You got an extra glass there,
that
buddy?
is fair. That is fair. That is fair. Yeah, talk about a disappointing team. Ottawa's been on a freaking roller coaster. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I expected so much more from Ottawa in the past year.
I expected them to be a playoff team. But look, oh my God, they are such a disaster.
Trust me, if you ever have a chance to talk with the Talking Some Sens guys, they will tell you the same exact thing. So
That's fair. That's fair. But you literally were talking about like switching owners, and now you're talking about look. You have a team of talented players. You have Brady Tkachuk. You have Claude Giroux. You have Drake Batherson. You have great goaltending. How in the world are you where you are right now? How are you on such a roller coaster type season where one game you're scoring 5 or 6 goals and one game you're close to getting shut out? No excuses there.
constant talk in Ottawa goes back to their head coach. So
I'm curious how the locker room is, if there's like toxicity or something going on too. You know.
Yep. Can't be great.
Yeah. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? All I do know is that at the time of this recording here, Ottawa is currently at the bottom of the barrel of the NHL at 11-13-0. Buffalo is doing better than them, and that says something. The Buffalo Sabres are doing better than you.
Ouch.
I honestly expected Buffalo to be doing better than they are.
I mean, so did I. But
I think given some of their
even
recent,
still,
given some of their recent signings and talent pool.
Ottawa, really? Come on, man.
Yeah, there's actually a couple teams we're doing better than too. Chicago, San Jose, Anaheim.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Chicago right now, though.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think anybody does.
We're getting out of we're getting out of conference at this point.
I was gonna say, yeah, we're
Hey, you started.
I was saying, mentioned that's my fault though. That's my fault.
No, please. Hey, anything to do with hockey is fine by me. But hey, listen. Unfortunately, that is going to wrap it up for our Metro Division Roundtable. This was such a blast with all of you. Thank you so much for joining me. We got to do this again really, really soon.
Absolutely.
This was such a blast. Thank you, guys.
This was a blast. I apologize for joining late, but thanks for putting this on, my friend.
Nah, please. Don't be ridiculous. You're fine. And Dave, I got to commend you. You've been one of my closest friends for many years. You're not even on this network yet. You agreed to join me and my good co-hosts here with all this madness. So I really got to commend you. Thank you so much for doing this with me, man. You're awesome.
No, thanks for having me on here. Whenever you want to have me on here to ramble for an amount of time, just let me know.
Hey, I know who I'm calling, man. Hey, listen, go subscribe to the Brew Jackets podcast as well as the Surgecast as well on the Hockey Podcast Network. Both terrific podcasts. Subscribe to every show here on the network. That is going to do it for us here on From the Blue Seats. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content and want to keep on seeing or hearing more, make sure that you smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you stay notified of every single video, and subscribe on all audio platforms as well. And please rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. Also, make sure you follow us on all social media, Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94, and use the hashtag BlueSeats to keep the conversation going. Who are your surprises and disappointments in the Metropolitan Division this season? And make sure you follow the Hockey Podcast Network on all social media. And one more thing real quick, don't forget our show is sponsored by SeatGeek. Use code BlueSeats at checkout for $20 off your first ticket purchase. You're welcome. On behalf of everybody here at the round table, I'm Jimmy. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Go Blue Shirts, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace!